I found another bone while burying vines. This one looks like a vertebra to me, and it seems too small to be a human vertebra. In regards to the tooth that I found, I actually had one of my dentist friends look at it, and at first he thought it was a third molar for a human, but he said it was weird because there were 4 roots to it, and that's not normal for a third molar. And then he did some more research on it, and he said he thinks it's an animal molar. He said a paramolar because it's got like weird shapes to it that aren't like human shapes. So anyway, digging up more bodies. All right, so quick update on the pumpkins. Goose is at DAP 32. He is measuring in at 327 pounds, and he is gaining 28 pounds a day. He has passed DAP 30, which means he is in his rapid growth phase. I'm hoping he'll get up to 30 or 40 pounds a day, and maybe even higher. The plant has pretty much shut down. I really haven't buried vines for like a week, and you can see like the vines just aren't growing. That means the plant is shutting down so that it can put all its energy into that pumpkin instead of growing a salad. We are growing a pumpkin, not a salad. And we've got our beautiful boy Snoop Gourd. I had to remove the leaf that was covering him up because he was starting to scratch him just a tiny bit. So now he's free from the leaf. He is DAP 24, and he is an estimated 168 pounds, and he's gaining 23 pounds a day. He is 37 pounds heavier than Goose was at this stage of his life, and he's also slightly bigger than my personal best at this stage of its life. So this is all very exciting. It's already time to put more sand under Goose, so I'm gonna do that today. So I just wanted to share one thing really quick. I just made like a 3-second video that said, oh, I'm gonna put some sand under him, and that's it. And then the sand just magically appears. Well, everything I say on video is usually a process behind the scenes. And here you can see my extremely messy garage / toy shed / boat storage and bike storage and weed whacker storage. And to get to my sand, I have to go through here. And almost every time my overalls get snagged on this, so I get snagged, I get cut, and I trip, I go all the way back here, and I got my sand in these buckets. I actually only have 1 bucket left. I try to reuse the sand every year just to save money. Any sand that has dirt in it, I just throw back in the patch. It can't hurt for my soil to be a bit more sandy and drain better. And then what I do is I put some gloves on because holding a bucket heavy like this is awful. This one's not terrible, so we should be fine without gloves, but I pick up this 5-gallon bucket and then I go make it through here, and yeah, it's a process. So this is how I put sand under my pumpkins, and yeah, so that's the behind the scenes look. And guess what? I'm human. I have messy things. Sorry. So I've been keeping an eye on the cats with my security camera, and overall, they're just being playful in the sand and with the sheet. I don't really think they're intending to cause any harm to the pumpkin, and they haven't caused any issues since the one day that they scratched the heck out of my baby pumpkin. If anything, they're keeping the mice and the rats away, and those mice and rats can be way more destructive than the cats would be. I have one cat that's going into the plant a little bit, and there might be others going under the plant, but they seem to be pretty careful about what they're doing, so I'm not too concerned about that. And they're also being super sweet. They're walking on my walking boards instead of compacting the soil. So I've been weeding all the areas that are easy to get to, and I just moved a board, and lots of roots. Those are all pumpkin roots, those bright white roots. And just take a look at how far away it is from these plants. I don't know what plant it's from, but that right there is exactly why you can't just water where the plant is. You have to water very far out. Luckily the rain's been doing all that for me, but it's just a good reminder. I also noticed some under here. They ended about here. So right here, I mean, that's a pretty far ways away. I doubt it's from these vines I just buried. So those roots traveled a long way. Better better water good. So I wanted to give you a bird's eye view of my pumpkin patch to explain why Snoop Gourd is so much bigger than Goose. So over there is Goose. That's actually my prime patch because it has more area. It has 1,020 square feet. So basically that patch is all that. That's Goose. He started there. Main vine goes down like that, and you can see where I pollinated him. The initial pollination was a backup pollination. It was too close to the crown or the beginning of the plant, and I wanted it to be further out. The reason being is that all the secondary vines behind the pumpkin provide most of the water and the weight to the fruit. Unfortunately, the main vine snapped, and I didn't have any pumpkins further down to pollinate. Now, I knew this was going to happen, but if you pollinate too early when the plant isn't big enough, by DAP 20 or 30, the plant just stops growing because it's putting all the energy into the pumpkin. And the pumpkin is at that stage now. And you can see that plant's not very big. And it's not going to grow much more until the pumpkin slows down a little bit. So I have all that unused space and all that plant that's not there to give Goose the weight. Now Snoop Gourd has the opposite problem. His patch is smaller. You can see it's right here. And he started here. Main vine goes down like that. And he has way more secondaries behind him. And this is going to fill up the patch easy. He is only DAP 20. So he's still got a ways to go before the plant really slows down, but he is slowing down a little bit. So that's why Goose is probably going to grow a lot faster and quicker, or Snoop Gourd is probably going to grow quicker than Goose, but I'm still going to keep those secondaries not pruned because once the pumpkin slows down, I will let the vines grow later in the season, and that'll provide it some fresh new leaves, which may help grow more later in the season. I'm going to have to terminate Snoop Gourd once his patch fills up, so he won't have any new leaves towards the end of the year. So we'll see what happens, but yeah, this is the bird's eye view of my patch. So because there's a very slim chance that Goose is going to fill up the rest of this patch, which ends here, I decided to put my giant marrow here. This was originally in the back corner, and it was getting overtaken by weeds like this, and I was neglecting it. And I already pulled 2 squash bugs off of it, and I also noticed squash bug eggs. So those are squash bug eggs. That is bad. Those will hatch into many little baby squash bugs. So you know the easiest way to get rid of it? Dun, 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 dun. Oh, oh. Duct tape. All you do is not get stuck to the duct tape and duct tape them off. And there's a few more spots that I'll take care of. I'll squish any squash bugs that I get, and I'll get this guy all prettied up, and then I will weed all this eventually and give it some room. But yeah, I'm kind of upset. I knew this was gonna happen, but we don't have many secondaries behind Goose. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this side. We had one over there that got stunted. We have one here that's stunted and not moving. That's the one right at the pumpkin. So we have 5 on this side. And then on this side, these are all after the pumpkin, so these don't count. We have 1, 2, which is stunted, 3, 4, which is stunted, 5, 6. And then there's like 2 more under there that got stunted. So there's like 11 secondaries behind it, really 9 if you don't include these stunted ones. So I'm not too happy about that. I see a rogue tertiary vine over there that I gotta take care of. So yeah, it is what it is. So not a big plant, but we'll keep working with it. I have this secondary curl in there. I was gonna curl that one and that one and that one and that one around, but they're all stunted. So we'll see what happens.